There's a mountain inside every single one of us. Not the kind carved from rock and ice, but the kind made of doubts, fears, failures, and dreams we've left waiting in the shadows. And just like Mount Everest, it towers above us, daring us to climb. Think about that mountain for a moment. For some, it's the fear of speaking their truth. For others, it's breaking free from comfort. For many, it's daring to believe that greatness is even possible. That mountain stands there whispering, "You're not ready. You're not enough. Stay where you are." But here's the truth. Everest has never stopped anyone from climbing. It simply stands in silence, waiting to see who has the courage to take the first step. And life is no different. Success doesn't chase us down. It doesn't knock on the door and say, "Here I am." No, success waits, like a mountain, asking one question: will you climb? When Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay stood on the roof of the world in 1953, they didn't just conquer a mountain. They proved that human spirit, determination, and belief can rise higher than the impossible. The wind was brutal, the oxygen was thin, and the summit looked unreachable. But they didn't stop at the sight of hardship. They kept moving, step by step, proving that greatness is never a giant leap. It's a collection of small, relentless steps forward. And that's what life demands of us. Too many people are waiting for perfect conditions, waiting for the pain to disappear, waiting for clarity to strike like lightning. But perfect weather never comes, not on Everest, not in life. The storm is part of the climb. The doubt is part of the path. If you wait until the fear is gone, you'll never begin. Thomas Edison once said, "Most people miss opportunity because it is dressed in overalls and looks like work." He wasn't exaggerating. Edison failed more than 1,000 times before inventing the light bulb. 1,000 steps into darkness before the world was lit. Imagine the climb of that mountain: rejection, laughter from others, financial loss. But he kept climbing. Every failure was not a wall, but a step closer to the summit. Your own failures, your own mistakes, are not the end. They are footholds. They are anchors in the rock that give you leverage to rise higher. The pain you feel today is the strength you'll use tomorrow. Henry Ford once said, "Obstacles are those frightful things you see when you take your eyes off your goal." He was right. The climber who stares only at the storm will never move forward. But the one who keeps his eyes on the summit, even when snow blinds his path, finds a way to move, even if only an inch at a time. So what does Everest teach us about daily life? That progress is not glamorous. The summit photo is glorious, yes, but the climb, it's mud, sweat, frostbitten fingers, and nights that feel endless. Success in daily life is the same. Waking up early to work on your dream while the world sleeps isn't glamorous. Repeating habits day after day without applause feels ordinary. But that's the climb. Every early morning, every disciplined choice, every act of self-control is a step higher on your mountain. Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper for lacking imagination. Think about that. The man who built castles in the sky was once told he had no vision, but he didn't stop. He kept drawing, kept building, kept dreaming, until the world saw the magic that was already inside him. That's the climb. Not stopping when others laugh, not giving up when they doubt, not listening when they say you don't have what it takes. Here's the question: what summit are you after? For some, it's financial freedom. For others, it's peace of mind. For many, it's building something that outlives them. Whatever your mountain is, remember this: you don't have to see the whole path to begin. You only need to see the next step. Too often people freeze at the bottom of the mountain, staring at the peak, paralyzed by its height. They whisper, "It's too far, it's too big." But Everest isn't climbed in a day, and your dream won't be either. The key is to start, to lace up your boots and take one step, no matter how small. Abraham Lincoln once walked miles to borrow books, reading by firelight after days of labor. He didn't wait for the perfect education, or the perfect mentor, or the perfect chance. He climbed with what he had, and step by step he rose from poverty to the presidency, proving that success isn't given, it's earned by those who refuse to stop climbing. Your daily life is your Everest, the alarm clock that calls you to rise earlier, the temptation to waste another day scrolling through distractions, the whisper of doubt telling you to play it safe. These are the storms, the avalanches, the winds that threaten to push you down. But if you hold your focus, if you remember the summit waiting above, you can endure. The mountain teaches us that clarity comes with altitude. From the base, the summit is shrouded in clouds. But as you climb, as you move higher, the clouds begin to clear. Life is the same. You may not see your whole purpose yet. You may not understand your path, but keep climbing. Each step upward will reveal more of the view. And when the storms come, and they will come, remember this: storms don't last forever. The climber who waits out the storm in silence, who refuses to quit when the winds rage, finds that eventually the clouds break and the sun returns. Discipline is your rope, faith is your oxygen, courage is your axe, and consistency, the step you take today, tomorrow, and the day after, that is your climb. One day, if you keep moving, you will stand at your own summit. And when you do, you will look back, not at the mountain itself, but at who you became while climbing it. Because the true reward of Everest is not the view, it's the transformation of the climber. And here's the paradox of climbing. The mountain doesn't shrink, but you grow. The weight on your shoulders doesn't disappear, but your strength expands to carry it. What once felt impossible becomes the very thing that shapes your character. This is why success in daily life isn't about avoiding hard days. It's about allowing those hard days to sculpt you into someone unrecognizable from who you once were. Nikola Tesla spent nights awake, consumed by visions of inventions no one else could see. People called him eccentric, even crazy. He lived much of his life broke, mocked, forgotten. But he never stopped climbing the mountain of his vision. He saw the future before the world caught up. And now the very electricity that lights our homes carries his fingerprint. What does his story tell us? That sometimes the mountain feels lonely. Sometimes no one walks beside you. But solitude is not failure. It is preparation. The summit doesn't need a crowd. It requires your courage. And courage, my friend, is not the absence of fear. Courage is moving forward with fear riding on your back. The climber's legs tremble, their breath shortens, their heart pounds. But they keep climbing. That's courage. And in your daily life, courage is saying no to mediocrity. Courage is working late on your dream when no one claps. Courage is standing tall when doubt whispers you should quit. Andrew Carnegie, the steel magnate who rose from poverty, once said, "As I grow older, I pay less attention to what men say. I just watch what they do." Think about that. Words are cheap, but action is the true language of belief. The climber doesn't tell the mountain they can reach the top. They show it with every aching step. You don't need to announce your goals to the world. Show them. Prove them in silence. Let your results speak the language of mountains move. Every day you face base camps. Base camp is comfort. Base camp is where most people stay. It's safe. It's familiar. It's easy. But base camp is not the summit. Base camp is where dreams die slowly, wrapped in excuses. To rise, you must leave the tent, step into the cold air of discipline, and move upward where most refuse to go. And here's the secret. The summit is not reached by the strongest, but by the most disciplined. The mountain doesn't care about your talent, your background, your potential. It cares only for persistence. The climber who refuses to turn back eventually finds themselves where others gave up. And in life, persistence is your greatest advantage. Not brilliance, not genius, not luck. Persistence. Think about Walt Disney again. Rejected over and over, bankrupt more than once. He could have stayed in his base camp of defeat, but he didn't. He kept climbing, step by step, sketch by sketch, dream by dream. Today, millions walk through the gates of his imagination. What if he had stopped? What if he had believed the voices of doubt? The summit would have remained untouched. This is the danger. Too many people surrender when the air gets thin. They give up when success is just a little further above. They can't see it, but the summit is right there, hidden in the clouds. And the tragedy is that they walk back down, telling themselves it was impossible, when in truth, they were one step away. Don't be that climber. Don't let your life be a story of almost. Don't let your dream remain a peak you could have conquered. Remember Abraham Lincoln again. Failure after failure, business collapse, election loss after election loss, personal tragedy. Yet he refused to quit climbing. And when he finally reached his summit, the presidency, it wasn't just about him. His climb changed the destiny of a nation. That's the power of persistence. Your summit isn't just for you. When you climb, you show others what's possible. You give them permission to rise. Look around your own life. There are people watching you right now. Children, friends, family, maybe even strangers. They're watching to see if you'll keep climbing. They're waiting for your example. And when you choose discipline, when you choose to rise instead of settling, you give them a map. You prove to them that their mountain can be climbed too. So what's stopping you? Fear, doubt, laziness? All of those are weather patterns, not walls. They pass, they shift. But the mountain, the opportunity to rise, remains. Every morning the mountain calls. When your alarm rings, that's Everest asking, "Will you climb today?" When temptation whispers comfort, the mountain asks, "Will you rise?" When failure knocks you down, the mountain asks, "Will you try again?" And the answer cannot be given in words. It can only be given in steps. Step by step, choice by choice, habit by habit, you climb. And here is the truth. The summit is not where life rewards you. Life rewards you long before the top. It rewards you in the strength you build, the vision you gain, the person you become along the way. The summit is just a symbol. The real treasure is the climber you forged in the climb. The mountain is always teaching, if you're willing to listen. It teaches patience. You cannot sprint to the summit, no matter how badly you want to. The air thins, your body slows, and every step feels heavier. You learn to pace yourself, to breathe through the strain, to accept that greatness is not a race, it is endurance. And in daily life, it's the same. You can't build a fortune, a career, a strong body, or a great relationship overnight. The climb of success is not instant gratification. It's delayed reward. It's waking up every day knowing the summit is still far above, but moving anyway. Thomas Edison didn't rush. He tested idea after idea, experiment after experiment. Each failure was a heavy step up, a steep incline. But he paced himself. He didn't allow the weight of 1,000 failures to crush him. He saw each setback as a necessary step toward light. That's patience. That's climbing. Patience is not weakness. It's strength under control. The weak demand speed. The strong trust the process. A seed doesn't bloom the day it's planted. A body doesn't transform after one workout. A business doesn't thrive after one attempt. The summit doesn't appear after the first step. Growth takes time. But when you trust time, when you trust the climb, you discover the summit was always closer than you thought. And the mountain teaches humility. Everest humbles even the strongest. No matter how skilled the climber, no one conquers it alone. Sherpas guide, teammates support, and the mountain itself must grant permission. And life is no different. No success is purely individual. Behind every dreamer are those who encouraged, supported, and lifted them higher. Abraham Lincoln leaned on the wisdom of mentors. Henry Ford surrounded himself with brilliant minds. Even the lone inventor Nikola Tesla drew from a network of inspiration. The summit of your life will never be reached in isolation. Success is not a solo climb, it's a rope team. But humility also means respect. Respect for the mountain, respect for the process, respect for the daily disciplines that make victory possible. Too many people want shortcuts. They want to helicopter to the peak and plant a flag without enduring the climb. But shortcuts rob you of strength. They deny you the very growth that makes the summit meaningful. Success without struggle is hollow. A trophy without sweat has no story. Walt Disney's castle was not built from shortcuts. It was carved from years of rejection, long nights of work, and a relentless belief in imagination. That's why his dream shines so brightly today. It wasn't easy, and it wasn't instant. The climb gave it power. And then the mountain teaches gratitude. Imagine standing at a high camp on Everest, looking down at the miles you've climbed. The valleys below, the rivers, the villages you passed, the endless trail of effort behind you. Gratitude swells because you see how far you've come. And in daily life, we forget this. We focus so much on how far we still have to go, we forget to be grateful for the progress we've already made. Gratitude is fuel. It's oxygen for the soul. Without it, the climb feels like punishment. With it, every step feels like a gift. Think about Andrew Carnegie. Born poor, working as a boy in a cotton factory, rising to become one of the wealthiest men of his time. And what did he do with his fortune? He gave much of it away, building libraries, schools, and institutions. Because gratitude turns success outward. Gratitude says, this summit is not just for me, but for those who will come after. Your life too is climbing for more than yourself. The habits you build, the battles you win, the summits you reach, they are not only for your reward, they ripple outward, inspiring others, creating paths for them to follow. Your courage becomes their compass. Your persistence becomes their proof. And the mountain teaches resilience. On Everest, storms can erase weeks of progress. Climbers are forced to turn back, to wait, to endure. Some lose everything and must start again. Yet those who rise, those who return, those who refuse to let the storm be the end, they are the ones who find the summit. Life is filled with storms. Job loss, heartbreak, financial struggle, failure, rejection. Each one feels like an avalanche, burying your progress. But resilience is digging out, standing again, saying, this is not where my climb ends. Abraham Lincoln endured storms of failure that would have crushed a weaker man. But resilience kept him climbing. Edison endured storms of ridicule and doubt, yet resilience kept him experimenting. Ford faced storms of skepticism and rejection, yet resilience kept him building. The mountain bends those who lack resilience. But for the resilient, the storm is only a chapter, not the ending. So when your own storm comes, don't curse the mountain. Don't say, why me? Instead say, this storm is my training. This is my test. This is where I grow stronger. Because storms do not stop the climb. They shape the climber. And in those storms, when the air is thin and your body screams to quit, remember why you began. Purpose is the flame that burns when the cold sets in. Purpose is the rope that pulls you higher when gravity drags you down. Without purpose, no one endures the climb. But with purpose, no storm can stop you. What is your purpose? What mountain calls to you? Success is not about climbing every peak. It's about finding the one that belongs to you, the one that stirs your soul, the one that whispers to you at night, the one that demands your courage. That's the mountain worth climbing. Purpose. It's the fire in the heart that makes the impossible bearable. Without it, the climb feels meaningless, the weight feels too heavy, the air too thin. But when you know why you're climbing, when you feel that vision burning inside, suddenly the pain becomes fuel. The very hardships that once broke you now sharpen you. Purpose transforms the impossible into destiny. Think of Henry Ford. His purpose was not just to build cars, but to make mobility accessible to the common man. Before Ford, the automobile was a luxury reserved for the wealthy. He dreamed of a world where every family could have freedom on wheels. People laughed at him, called his dream foolish, mocked his vision of assembly lines, but purpose kept him climbing. Every failure, every rejection, every storm pushed him closer to the summit, and because he held on, the world itself was changed. Millions today still ride in the shadow of his dream. Your own mountain demands the same, not just ambition, not just desire, but a reason that cuts through the noise of fear, a reason that burns bright when comfort tempts you back to safety. Without purpose, you'll quit when the storm comes, but with purpose, you'll keep moving through snow and darkness, one step at a time, and then comes belief. Belief is the oxygen of the climb. On Everest, oxygen is scarce, and without it, the body collapses. In life, belief is that oxygen. Without it, the dream suffocates. Without it, your strength fails. But with belief, even in thin air, you rise. Think about Walt Disney again. Rejected over 300 times by bankers who thought his vision for Disneyland was ridiculous. 300 times people said no. Imagine the toll of that. Imagine sitting in meeting after meeting, watching doors close, but belief kept him alive. Belief in the magic of his dream. And when finally one door opened, his vision was unleashed, and millions have since walked the streets of his imagination. Belief doesn't mean you never doubt. Belief means you keep moving even when doubt screams in your ear. Belief is choosing faith in the unseen summit, knowing that the climb will be worth it, even if you can't yet see the view. And what about discipline? Discipline is the muscle of the climb. Without it, passion fizzles, belief drifts, purpose fades. Discipline is the step when you don't feel like stepping. Discipline is the choice when you don't feel like choosing. Discipline is showing up in the cold, when no one's watching, when no one's clapping, when no one will ever know the effort you gave. Discipline doesn't care about applause. Discipline cares about progress. Look at Abraham Lincoln's life again. He wasn't the most gifted speaker at first. He wasn't born into wealth or privilege, but he disciplined his mind. He studied, he read, he learned. He built himself step by step, day by day. That discipline carried him through defeat after defeat until he became the man strong enough to lead a divided nation. Without discipline, his purpose and belief would have died in the valley. With it, he reached his summit. The same is true for you. Don't wait for motivation to show up. Don't wait for energy, for inspiration, for some perfect moment. Motivation is fleeting. Discipline is eternal. Motivation comes and goes like the weather. Discipline builds the road to the top, rain or shine. And here is the deeper lesson of Everest. Every summit has another climb beyond it. When you reach the top, you realize the journey isn't over. It has only begun. Edmund Hillary, after conquering Everest, didn't retire into comfort. He kept climbing, kept serving, kept giving. Why? Because the mountain was never the true reward. The real victory was in the climber he became. And so it will be for you. The job promotion, the financial success, the body you dream of, the goals you reach, they are summits. But beyond them, more mountains will rise. And that is not a curse, but a gift. For the climb is where life lives. The climb is where strength is built. The climb is where you discover who you are. So never fear the endless mountains. Embrace them. They are proof that life still has more for you. More growth, more wisdom, more purpose. One day you will look back at your valleys, your storms, your struggles, and you will be grateful. Grateful that it was not easy. Grateful that it demanded your best. Grateful that the mountain shaped you into someone you never thought you could be. Because the truth is this: success is not about standing on the summit with your arms raised. Success is about the climb that made you worthy of standing there. Then listen closely, because the climb is not only about reaching the summit, it's about defeating the enemies within. The mountain outside you is dangerous, yes, but the greater mountain is the one inside your own mind. Fear, doubt, procrastination, laziness, these are avalanches waiting to bury you. These are storms that can stop your climb before it even begins. Fear whispers, you're not ready. You're not strong enough. Doubt hisses, what if you fail? What if everyone laughs? Procrastination seduces, tomorrow will be easier. Tomorrow will be the right time. And laziness chains your feet to the ground saying, stay here. It's comfortable. Why climb at all? But here is the truth. Fear is a shadow, not a wall. Doubt is a fog, not a fortress. Laziness is a prison where you hold the keys. The mountain doesn't defeat most climbers. Their own mind does. And that's why success in daily life begins not with strength in the body, but strength in the mind. Think about Thomas Edison again. Do you think he didn't feel fear, doubt, frustration? Of course he did. 1,000 failures isn't a statistic. It's 1,000 moments of the mind saying, give up. This isn't worth it. But he trained his mind to answer back. This is one step closer. This is part of the climb. That mindset turned failure into fuel. That mindset lit the world. Mindset is the compass of your life. Without it, you walk in circles. With it, you find your way, even in the darkest storms. Jim Rohn once said, don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. The mountain won't get smaller for you. Life won't get easier for you. But you can get stronger. You can sharpen your mind until every obstacle becomes opportunity. And here's the power of self-image. You will never climb higher than the picture you hold of yourself. If you see yourself as weak, you'll quit at the first storm. If you see yourself as average, you'll settle at base camp. But if you see yourself as a climber, as someone who belongs at the summit. You'll keep moving even when the path is brutal. Walt Disney saw himself as more than a failed cartoonist. Henry Ford saw himself as more than a farm boy. Abraham Lincoln saw himself as more than a poor, uneducated laborer. They saw themselves as climbers, destined for the summit, and because they believed it, they lived it. So I ask you, what image do you hold of yourself? Are you trapped in the valley of self-doubt? Or do you dare to see yourself at the top, with the wind in your face and victory in your soul? Because until you change the picture in your mind, you'll never change the life in your hands. And how do you change that image? Through action. Small, daily, disciplined action. Every push-up says, I am strong. Every hour of study says, I am growing. Every choice of discipline says, I am becoming. You can't just affirm your way to the summit. You must act your way there. Action sculpts identity. And once you believe in who you are, nothing can stop the climb. The mountain also teaches clarity. At the bottom, the peak is hidden in clouds. But as you rise, the view sharpens. Life is the same. At first, your purpose may seem blurry, your path uncertain, but clarity comes through movement, not waiting. The higher you climb, the more you see. Don't wait for the whole picture to be revealed before you begin. Start climbing, and the mountain will reveal itself step by step. Clarity isn't about knowing every detail. It's about knowing your direction. Edmund Hillary didn't see every rock, every storm, every step from the bottom. He only knew the summit was north, and he kept moving. In your life, you don't need to know every twist of the road. You just need to know your summit and move. And when the inevitable voice of quitting comes, and it will come, remember this: quitting will not silence the mountain, it will haunt you. The dream you abandon will echo in your mind, whispering, you could have climbed, you could have risen, you could have been more. Regret is heavier than failure. Regret weighs more than discipline, more than sacrifice, more than hardship. Don't carry regret down the mountain. Carry victory. Resist the lie that average is enough for you. Resist the comfort of the valley. Resist the temptation of good enough. You were not born for base camp. You were born for the summit. Confidence. It is the sunlight on the cold mountain face. Without it, every shadow seems darker, every step heavier. With it, even the steepest slopes feel climbable. But here's the secret. Confidence is not something you wait for. It is not gifted. It is not found in luck or circumstance. Confidence is earned. It's built. It's carved into your soul by the chisels of discipline, repetition, and persistence. The climber does not wait at the bottom of Everest until they feel ready. They climb, and readiness appears step by step. In the same way, you don't wait to feel confident before you act. You act, and confidence follows. Think of Abraham Lincoln again. His first speeches were awkward, rough, even mocked. But he kept standing. He kept speaking. With every failure, his voice grew stronger, his presence deeper, his conviction sharper. By the time he delivered the Gettysburg Address, his words carried the weight of a nation. Confidence didn't arrive first, it was built along the climb. So when you step into your own battles, stop waiting for confidence to knock at your door. Take the step, make the call, write the page, start the project. Confidence is forged in fire, not in theory. And once confidence begins to grow, it creates momentum. Momentum is one of the greatest gifts of the climb. On the mountain, the first steps are the hardest. Your pack feels heavy, your body resists. But as you keep moving, as your legs find rhythm, momentum takes over. And suddenly, steps that once felt impossible become natural. In daily life, momentum is built the same way, through consistent small actions. Do something long enough, and it becomes who you are. The runner who laces up shoes every day doesn't ask if they feel like running. It's simply what they do. The entrepreneur who builds their business daily doesn't wait for inspiration. It's simply their climb. Henry Ford once said, "Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right." That's confidence. That's momentum. It's the belief that becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. And when you combine belief with momentum, you become unstoppable. But beware, the mountain also teaches that overconfidence is as deadly as doubt. Climbers who rush ahead, who underestimate the peak, often never return. In life, arrogance blinds, pride missteps, ego slips. True confidence is humble. It knows the danger of the climb, but chooses to face it anyway. It is strength under control, courage with respect. Walt Disney, despite his vision, never stopped learning, never stopped adjusting. Edison, despite his brilliance, admitted how much he didn't know. Carnegie, despite his wealth, relied on others' wisdom. Confidence carried them forward, but humility kept them alive. That balance, confidence with humility, is the rope that holds you steady when the climb becomes dangerous, and then growth. Growth is the very heartbeat of the mountain. No one climbs Everest and returns the same. No one pursues greatness and remains who they were. Growth is the invisible reward, the transformation that outlives the summit photo. The mountain doesn't just give you a view, it gives you a new version of yourself. Nikola Tesla's growth wasn't in fame or fortune. He had little of either. His growth was in the expansion of human possibility, in the visions he turned real. Edison's growth wasn't just in inventions. It was in resilience, in proving to himself and the world that persistence changes everything. Lincoln's growth was not just political. It was human. Forged in tragedy, humility, and resolve, your growth will come in the same way. Through struggle, through storms, through nights when you want to quit but don't. Every step upward makes you more. Every failure survived makes you stronger. Every hardship endured carves depth into your soul. So stop fearing growth. Stop fearing the pain that makes you rise. Embrace it. Thank it. Welcome it as the very sculptor of your destiny. Because in the end, Everest doesn't just test your legs, your lungs, your body. It tests your mind, your heart, your spirit. And when you win that battle, when you conquer yourself, the summit becomes inevitable. Legacy, that is the final lesson, the mountain whispers. You see, when a climber reaches the summit, the view belongs to them for a moment, but the story belongs to the world forever. Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay didn't just climb for themselves. Their courage lit a torch for every dreamer who would dare to climb after them. And so it is with you. The mountain you climb, the battles you fight, the victories you win, they are not only for you, they are for the people who will look at your life and say, if they could climb, so can I. Andrew Carnegie poured his fortune into building libraries, not because he needed more recognition, but because he knew that his climb had to create a path for others. Abraham Lincoln's speeches and sacrifices echo across centuries because his climb wasn't for his own name, it was for freedom itself. Walt Disney's castles weren't just drawings, they were invitations for generations to believe in imagination. Legacy is the summit that never fades. But legacy is not built at the top. Legacy is built in the small, hidden steps no one sees. It's built in the morning you rise early instead of sleeping in. It's built in the moment you choose courage instead of fear. It's built in the act of kindness, the word of encouragement, the persistence when others give up. The summit is the picture the world sees, but the climb is the part that changes history. And make no mistake, every choice you make is writing your legacy. Every day you climb or refuse to climb, you are answering the question, what story will my life tell? Will it be a story of excuses or a story of endurance? Will it be a story of fear or a story of courage? Will it be a story of staying at base camp or a story of reaching for the highest peaks? The mountain does not lie. The mountain records every step. Life is the same. Your habits, your choices, your persistence, they are writing your legacy in stone. And here is the deepest truth. The summit itself will not fulfill you. Many climbers have stood at the top of Everest, and though the view is breathtaking, it lasts only minutes before the descent begins. The true fulfillment is found not in the peak, but in who you became on the way up. Success in daily life is no different. The paycheck, the promotion, the recognition, they are peaks. They will feel good for a moment, but they will not define you. What defines you is the strength, the discipline, the courage you built while climbing. That is why so many who chase only trophies feel empty when they win, because the summit was their only goal. But those who fall in love with the climb, with the growth, the discipline, the resilience, they never stop rising, no matter how many peaks they reach. So fall in love with the climb. Wake up each day not asking, how far is the summit, but how strong can I grow today? Ask not, when will this get easier, but how much better can I become in the storm? That mindset of loving the process, of embracing the climb, that is the secret of unshakable success. And gratitude. Gratitude is the compass that keeps you true. Gratitude says, yes, the summit is ahead, but I am thankful for this step, for this breath, for this moment. Gratitude transforms the grind into a gift. Gratitude turns the cold wind into a reminder that you are alive. Gratitude keeps the heart warm when the world grows cold. Without gratitude, success becomes greed. With gratitude, success becomes grace. Tesla, poor and unrecognized, still gave his genius to the world because he was grateful for the gift of vision. Edison, mocked and ridiculed, still kept creating because he was grateful for the process. Lincoln, broken and battered by loss, still served because he was grateful for the opportunity to fight for something greater. Gratitude fuels purpose. Gratitude fuels resilience. Gratitude fuels legacy. So I say to you now, your mountain is waiting. Your summit is calling. And the climb begins not with the world's approval, not with perfect conditions, not with fearlessness. It begins with a step. A single, small, humble step. And then another. And another. Step by step, day by day, choice by choice, you rise. And when your legs ache, when your lungs burn, when your spirit feels like it cannot go on, remember this. The summit is not just ahead. The summit is already within you. Every act of courage, every moment of discipline, every choice of persistence is proof that you are already climbing higher than most will ever dare. Do not wait. Do not delay. The mountain is not shrinking. Time is not slowing. The climb is now. The climb is yours. One day, you will stand at your summit. You will breathe the rare air of victory. You will look down at the valleys you conquered, the storms you survived, the nights you endured. And you will know it was all worth it. Not just for the view, not just for the glory, but because of the climber you became. The mountain does not make you. The mountain reveals you. Now rise. Lace your boots. Take the step. The world is waiting for your climb. Then hear me, because this is where the climb turns into fire. Every great soul who ever left their mark understood one truth. Life is not measured by how long we stand on the summit, but by how many summits we dare to climb. The mountain is not conquered in a moment. It is conquered in the decision to keep rising, day after day, long after others have stopped. Think of Edison again, working by candlelight through endless nights. Think of Ford, mocked and dismissed but steady at his forge. Think of Disney, turned away by bankers who could not see magic where he saw castles. Think of Lincoln, facing loss after loss but refusing to surrender. They were all climbers. And the reason you know their names today is because they chose the climb when others chose comfort. And now, it is your turn. Your mountain may not be Everest. It may be finishing the book you've been afraid to start. It may be breaking the chains of debt that hold you down. It may be transforming your body into strength, or your mind into wisdom, or your heart into courage. Whatever your mountain is, the lesson remains the same. Step by step, storm by storm, you can climb. Do not underestimate the power of one step. One disciplined choice can rewrite the future. One bold action can change the direction of your life. One moment of courage can unlock a destiny that fear tried to keep buried. The climb is not about giant leaps. It is about refusing to stop, even when the summit hides behind clouds. And when the world around you doubts, when they laugh, when they say you cannot. Remember this: every visionary, every innovator, every leader was once laughed at. Edison was a fool. Ford was crazy. Disney was a dreamer. Lincoln was unelectable. Tesla was insane. But history does not remember the laughter. History remembers the climb. So let them laugh. Let them doubt. Let them turn away. You do not climb for their approval. You climb for your destiny. You climb because something inside you knows you were not born to stay in the valley. You climb because the summit is calling your name. And here is the great paradox. The higher you climb, the more storms you face. Success does not eliminate struggle. It multiplies it. But that is the proof you are rising. The wind is strongest near the top. The air is thinnest near the peak. If life feels harder, if the weight feels greater, if the path feels steeper, it means you are closer than you think. Don't stop now, because the mountain has one final test. It will ask you, do you truly want this? Will you endure the cold, the pain, the doubt, the solitude? And only those who answer with action, only those who keep stepping, earn the summit. But when you reach it, when you finally stand there with the world beneath your feet, everything changes. You see farther. You think clearer. You feel stronger. You realize that the summit was never about the flag, or the photograph, or the glory. It was about the transformation. It was about the person you became along the way. And then, as you look down at the valleys and storms behind you, gratitude fills your chest. You whisper, it was worth it. Every step, every trial, every moment, it was worth it. And in that moment, you understand, the climb is not just a metaphor for success. It is life itself. So rise, climber. Rise against the wind. Rise against the doubt. Rise against the comfort that tries to hold you back. Step onto your mountain. Step into your destiny. Step until your legs shake. Step until your lungs burn. Step until your heart sings with the fire of persistence. And when the world asks you one day how you did it, you will smile and say, I never stopped climbing, because the summit belongs to those who refuse to quit, and now it belongs to you.